What up, Mr. Admitted Anus? So finally, I have done this. I've made something, but basically, what we would have to function our superstructure around would be community assemblies. So starting at the beginning, we have your immediate locality. That could be your neighborhood, or obviously this is going to look way different if it's a country. Initially, I just started with your like a medium metropolitan area. I live in Tulsa. This would still be able to be done within Tulsa, so I kind of thought about what that would look like. It's obviously going to look different if you're in a larger country area or if you're in a bigger urban area, but here's the basic breakdown. So we're following the bottom-up processing, where you have your immediate locality or neighborhood community assembly. Okay, and the community assembly will be divvied up. Everyone comes into it, and it will be divvied up based on the deliberations of the actual assembly. So, and while they're doing that, the community assembly will provide different, policy suggestions or changes, but the goal is through each community assembly, they will address their immediate needs and immediate needs within the community. And once we get to the larger national community assemblies, their job is to just ensure that all of the smaller community assemblies are getting the resources they need to enact the laws and the policy that they need. Also, within this community assembly system, I believe that you could do something very similar in restructuring the police into just a community security assembly. That could be formed maybe at the city, country, state level. I don't know. I would probably put it at the city and county level. And maybe have them function less as like a police and more as a decentralized militia that again will answer finally to like the National Assembly if they're not following within the policies and procedures that are set up by the locality assemblies all the way down to the national. So the localities, this first block, every single one will kind of be based off of that. They'll do an assessment of the community, find what needs that they do not have met within the community, deliver this down the way, okay? And so really, again, like I said, the National Assembly's only function is to really divvy up the resources to the smaller assemblies so that they can treat their communities in a way that they need to. Now, obviously, this doesn't take into consideration the transitionary phase in which we have to remove the dictatorship of capital, and we have to remove all these fucking corporatocracy bastards out of here in order to do this. But this is what people naturally want to do. I know it might seem very basic and very trivial, but we start here. We start with this direct democracy, and in my mind, each community assembly will send a chair or a board of representatives to each different assembly, so that the assemblies have a functioning relationship with one another. In this, I would try to make it to where each assembly size doesn't go over at least 200 people. That way, the community assemblies and the chair people elected to go into these larger assemblies, they would be able to answer for those things. They can answer for their behavior. They can answer for what's going on. It would make it just a little bit easier. You have there's a belief that people have only the ability to really manage 120 relationships, right? So that's kind of the idea, is that these spaces aren't jam-packed filled with people, so then your ability to empathize, understand, and regulate regular people and normal folks doesn't go away. That's the problem, is we've created such a distance from the elite to us that there's no understanding. They just think we're fucking animals. So that this structure would ensure, in theory, that every motherfucker would have a deeper relationship with the people within the community. And so it can go back, especially since it goes all the way back to immediate locality, which for the country, for a country residing folk, could just be your neighborhood, who's on that county road. And it doesn't matter how many people there are in the assembly, as long as we have enough people assembling in the immediate locality, and then they're moving up into the borough, into their next nearest city, into their next country. If we have people and actual members and representatives that function in this way, in which we're doing community assessments of the things that we lack, and then organizing and addressing the responses to those solutions based on what people actually need, not based on, I'm the red team, I'm the blue team. Shut up with your teams. I don't give a fuck about the teams. Follow this. We listen to this people the most. If you'll notice, they're at the top of the upside down triangle, right? This is where we currently are right now, where everybody goes, flip the fucking power structure on its head, okay? Immediately, things become different. So, I mean, it's not like I have a lot more that I could flesh out with this, but we're working on it. Me and another man, another friend in Arkansas, just filed in Arkansas, but we're working on what we call the United Community Assemblies of America. Basically, would be community assemblies with their purpose to educate, recreation, or support the community in some way. We're working on that right now. Check out communityparty.net. We're probably going to change the title just so it doesn't sound like it's a political party. But we would be able to do something like this. And if we can set up this structure now, before anything fucking wild happens, we could fall back on this, baby. And whenever eventually the elite structure comes fucking crumbling down, we have a safety net that we have created purposefully. And on that, it kind of functions similarly to what you suggested. Like within this local community assembly, we will assess the needs of how high is the security need, how high is this need. The obvious hard thing is for everybody to be transparent. But TBH, I think that to write the policy for this type of thing, you would need several autistic people or several neurodivergent people, because they're going to say the fucking quiet parts out loud, okay? They're going to pull whatever contradictions exist within this system, pull them to the forefront, and realize how to write them correctly. So that's kind of my idea. Obviously, with all of this, like I spoke with the police issue, you could create several different smaller assemblies that have a specific purpose. Like agricultural assembly, the security assembly, recreational assembly, education assembly. But these things would, like their structures, their curriculum would not be like dictated on high from somebody else. We would find all of the most relevant data, okay? All of the most relevant data. Education would be taught by data and by what actually exists. And then you could have like a work type community assembly. In my mind, it would sort of be like trade schools, wherein every position has sort of an assembly in which they train people, and you'd be able to rotate through these assemblies based on a daily rotation that, of course, like I had spoken before, I'm pretty sure it's only going to have to be neurodivergent or autistic people that write these rotations or come up with this structure, because they're the only people in my life that I've ever been able to just see through the bullshit and understand the malevolence of the elite a little bit more than your average folk. But that is kind of my idea. There's a lot more I need to expound upon, but there you go, brother. Bottom up structures, community assemblies, figuring out how to address your immediate problems with the people immediately around you. Go check out communityparty.net.